Next video. Not a great way to start it, kind of half tripping over, but it's fine. Okay, so we're going to start with 6 terrible habits which are extremely terrible for your health, have kept me a weak man, a weak person. It's just fucked with my mental health on me trying to improve. And looking back, these habits are really kind of implemented in like everyone's everyday today lives, which are viewed as normal. I'll go through these quickly because there's a few of them. But alright, first one, porn. Yeah, terrible. It's a terrible way to. I mean, the whole industry is kind of really corrupt, but it's not something you really should be watching. And the reason, some people may disagree with me, and the reason that is because it's so implemented in everyday's lives now. It's viewed as normal, even though it isn't really. I mean, this stuff is exposed to people who are like 11. Sounds like an over-exaggeration, but the thing is it's not, and that's kind of how fucked this is. Like, I know people who have had issues with this with their young kids, and it's a genuine issue. And that's why I think this is also one of the most hardest habits to break, because it's everywhere. And also people have been watching it for, it could be something that's like a year's habit, something that's built over the years. So breaking a habit like that is not easy. So this is one of the hardest things to break, I think, on this list. And also because it's everywhere. And this is where we'll get into the second point, social media. Social media nowadays is just soft porn. It's genuinely really, like, scrolling through Instagram, there are so many accounts which are, very explicit, and even though they're not porn, it's on borderlines, and this is just around in our everyday now. So many people scroll through Instagram and then see this kind of stuff. It's not normal. It mentally screws with your head. It lowers your testosterone levels, and it's not something that you'd willingly go out at. It's not something you'd watch in public, right? Obviously, because it's not healthy, one, and also, people would probably question it. It's just a horrible. So I can kind of link these two together, social media and porn, but they're both not very, very good. And then what other things with social media is scrolling. Scrolling, people do it for hours. I don't know if this is a really bad thing. It's definitely not a productive thing. The reason I don't have TikTok or anything like that is just because it's really unproductive for me. I find I lose like an hour or two to Snapchat, to TikTok, just from like scrolling or responding to people. And in those 2 hours I could have done like a lot. Like I've gone outside for a walk. Like you can do a lot in 2 hours. And some people might relate to this, like they've had like 5 minutes that they thought, and then suddenly look at the time, an hour is gone, and they're like, wait, hold up, what the fuck? So that's another reason why I don't think social media is a great influence on my life at all. By the way, all of this is just based on what I've cut out of my life, so this isn't like scientifically proven, but this is what I've just implemented and how I've seen change my life, and it could change yours. Okay, so the next one is video games. I'm a 17-year-old kid. Video games is a big part of my life, but not anymore. It used to be a massive part of my life. Like, I'd use it as a way to, like, if I've had, like, a super shitty day at work, or I've just been super busy, I'd relax and game, and this is something that I would, like, sort of let myself calm down into, my little safe space. And I think it's because one reason I love video games is because the whole status, leveling up, that kind of whole goal in things, or it's like a way to escape reality. Video games are easy, and even when they're difficult, they're still not as difficult as real life, so it's sort of an easy way to like level up in that. And then when you actually get to real life, and you figure out, wow, life is more difficult because it's real, it's reality, it becomes a sort of, when things are difficult and, you're like, oh shit, life, this is actually kind of difficult, you go back to the video games, which is not a good thing. It's like how people learn a new language. When you're learning a new language and things get tough, you tend to fall back onto your national language, which you shouldn't do because that's not how you learn. And anyone who's learnt other languages may be able to agree with this. Like, I'm learning another language, and I've figured out that if I keep relying on English, I won't ever be able to learn. So there's that. The next one is poor sleep. Poor sleep is really fundamental, and a lot of people might say to this, so this is the fourth one I think, a lot of the people might say, oh, poor sleep is not that important, or they might disagree and say, I have amazing sleep. If you're in bed, and Hamza has mentioned this before, if you're in bed for 8 hours, or 10 hours, right, say you're in bed for 10 hours, chances are you're not going to be sleeping for that whole 10 hours. You may be scrolling through TikTok, Instagram, watching something, or even if you're not, you may genuinely not be sleeping. So chances are you'll probably sleep like 8 hours out of 10, and this is where sleep efficiency comes in. I'll cut that there. I'll make this a whole separate video because there's a lot I could talk about this, but poor sleep really ruins your day. It really is a terrible habit to get into. Take a lot of pride in your sleep because your body needs it. If you're being productive, like I am, like, other people that you see out there, like Hamza, Iman, people who are trying to be really successful, right? You need a good sleep to maintain that balance, which is why poor sleep is very important. You want to improve on that. Take pride in it. Okay, so and the fifth bad habit for me is like binge eating, right? Binge eating snacks and stuff. See, before now, I never really worked out, and not only did I not work out or exercise enough, I ate more than I should. Not really sort of like unhealthy main meals. Like, I kind of had like an English breakfast. I would, cook myself some proper foods with the good carbohydrates, egg protein, stuff that I need. But then it's like in between those meals, I would snack out. I would binge snack, not really binge eat. I would just eat snacks and snacks. Even to the point where when I watched something, which was a lot, I would eat food because it was out of habit. Like, I would watch something, not even hungry, I would just go searching for food. Like a little hobbit coming out of its like cave and just like wanting food. Not because I was hungry, just because I was watching something, and it's a habit that I eat something as I watch. Other people might do this, and it's genuinely, that is one way to ruin your body's physical health. So binge snacking on things which are really unhealthy for you is something that is also a very, very bad habit, which I've now stopped, which has been a massive improvement. I've noticed how a lot of that changes how like I do things in everyday life. So there's the fifth one. Sixth one is being so emotionally, basically being too emotional. But being too emotionally invested into things that aren't productive. Say, for example, this can kind of be implemented in the other bad habits that I've mentioned. Say, for example, video games. I would get so emotionally invested into video games, it would make me stay on video games longer, which is obviously not good. And then, what was it? Say I'm trying to do something that's genuinely helpful for my body, a workout. That's something that's good to put my time into and like emotionally be invested into it. Being happy when I see results. And I am starting to work out properly now. Obviously, it's only been a week, so I'm not going to see massive results, but small little changes, being happy to see those changes is good. The only thing is, a lot of people aren't emotionally invested into productive things in their lives. They are emotionally invested into porn, video games, watching a series and binge watching that series for the next 3 days, which I have done. I have to admit, I have done that. So the last one's kind of like, be selective on what you want to do throughout your day. Don't waste your day, because wasting a day, building up that, like next day you waste it, next day you waste it, next day you don't, but then the day after you waste it playing more video games, that will be eventually you've wasted your life. So yeah, I'll run over the habits very quickly. First one, porn. That shit is really bad for your health, your mental health. It's not good for your testosterone levels. It fucks with your head, and it's genuinely not. It's just not something you want to watch. Second one, social media. Social media strips you away of your time, your ability to use that time for something productive. and social media is also basically borderline soft porn. Third one, can't remember. Video games. Video games. It's just another way that you shouldn't invest so much of your time into that, because once that becomes more of your reality, the real life, the real reality becomes more difficult. You become a gamer, more secluded from society, and that in itself is bad, because then you kind of become terrified of trying and being in the real world. You find the video games your safe space, and also it just takes a lot of your time away. And, you know, staring at a screen all day is not a good idea. Obviously, if you're working, that's different, but staring at a screen and doing nothing, it's still nonetheless bad. Fourth one, poor sleep. Sleep is so important. It helps you wake up the day after and feel so, like, recharged, ready for the day. A bad sleep leads to a bad day, and a lot of people may be able to relate to this, because a lot of people don't have 100% efficiency of sleep. A lot of people don't even have 80% efficiency in their sleep. I'll get that into a separate video though. And then the fifth bad habit, binge snacking. Don't eat really unhealthy snacks when you don't need to. Don't eat when you're just watching something just because of the feel of needing to eat something when you're watching something, even though you're not hungry. Because that's one, snacks are unhealthy. The typical ones I'm talking about, like crisps, Pringles, Doritos, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. You don't need it. So why feed yourself stuff like that isn't healthy for you? So, and then the sixth one, being emotionally invested into something that isn't productive or helpful or beneficial to your life. And then this can be like put into all the other habits, such as being emotionally invested in video games, rather than being emotionally invested in working out and improving your body. Okay, right. Love you all. I tried to keep that short because there was a lot more like habits than compared to the other last video. Love you all. Have an amazing day. It's such a sunny day here in England, so go outside, take a breath of fresh air, touch grass. When was the last time you done that? It could have been yesterday, a year ago, who knows? So just go outside, literally sit down in the grass and just lie down and just do nothing. Just breathe in that fresh air. Alright, love you all, have an amazing day, and do the best you can, don't throw your life away.